If you like food that's fun to say, we have something for you.
We tried a sweet potato samosa because I can't have regular potatoes anymore.
It turned out great though. So if you've never had a sweet potato samosa, here's your chance.
Have fun!
Bam.
You want to air fry 2 sweet potatoes at 450 for about 45 minutes. And so it doesn't explode, I am poking the sweet potatoes.
The recipe calls for 2 large sweet potatoes, which is why we did 3 small to medium-sized ones. While those potatoes are in the air fryer, let's make some dough.
You're gonna mix 2 cups of flour, half a teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of baking soda. That's it.
It looks like she's adding more than what she's saying, but that's a 1/4 teaspoon in her hand.
Now you're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of oil and half to a 3/4 cup of warm water while kneading it into a large dough ball.
As you gradually add in that water, you'll notice that it becomes a little clumpy. This is normal.
Now just watch how much water is going in. You don't want it to be too wet, so I think just until it comes together.
It sort of has this Play-Doh consistency.
Now this is not gonna be kind of Asian dough where it's a little springy. This is kind of, yeah, kind of like Play-Doh.
And Yumi likes to give it a little pat on the butt. You'll place that dough within the refrigerator for 15 to 30 minutes. Ooh, look at them roasted potatoes. And while your dough and your potatoes are cooling off, it's time to prepare your stuffing.
Stuffing.
Stuffing. I started with peeling the ginger a bit. It's going to be 2 teaspoons of minced ginger. Using a spoon is going to give you the most yield from your ginger root.
And then you're gonna mince 3 garlic cloves and half of a yellow onion. You're gonna dice that up.
And if you randomly clicked on this video and you're new to our channel, welcome to BYG Food Adventures. We put out videos every week and we mainly focus on sharing the delicious food that we love to eat at home. And if we happen to be gone and away from our kitchen, we will share those adventures with you as well. Some of you may have noticed, we do enjoy the outdoors. Hopefully soon, we'll share with you some rock climbing and hiking adventures.
Now in a skillet over medium heat, you'll add 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil, and then you'll add half a teaspoon of black mustard seeds.
And your chopped and minced onions, garlic, and ginger.
Now if you have it, add 1 bird's eye chili chopped up. If you don't, you could probably just use some red pepper flakes.
We used 2 bird's eye chilies and it gave it some heat, but we also will show you how to make an ají verde sauce that's delicious with the samosas that gave it a little too much heat. That means if you're not into spicy food, don't get crazy here.
Once the onions are sweating, you'll stir in 1 teaspoon of ground cumin and 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
Add in 1 teaspoon of turmeric and 1 teaspoon of red chili powder.
And 1/2 teaspoon of amchur powder and 1 teaspoon of ground coriander
And 1 teaspoon of garam masala. As you mix it over the skillet, you'll notice it starts to change color. Look at that melange of beautiful hues.
So now what's gonna go in next are your sweet potatoes. I'm just chopping them in half because sweet potatoes get pretty soft and like baby foody after they're baked or air fried. So you can just like spoon it out from the skin.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see any spooning happening right there. Also, make sure you're cooking the spices a bit before you add the potatoes. Fill your kitchen and your house with the redolence of those spices. If you smell what I'm cooking.
When parts of the potatoes begin to turn golden or a little brown in sweet potatoes case, add in 1 cup of frozen peas.
Turn off the heat and just mix it so it cools down.
While it's cooling, you're going to chop up 1/2 cup of cilantro and you'll juice 1/2 of a lemon and mix it into the filling.
You likely have noticed that we use a lot of cilantro in our cooking. It offers such a fresh herbaceousness to the food. For those of you out there who are using regular potatoes or white potatoes, know that it might not look this exact color. The spices will change it a bit. Again, we chose sweet potatoes to A, try something new, and B, so it won't cause inflammation with Yumi.
Now it's time to start assembling. You're gonna flour your surface a little bit and roll the dough into 1 long tube about 1 inch in diameter. And then you'll cut the dough in 1 inch pieces. I'm using a pastry dough cutter here, but if you don't have one of those, just use a knife.
Now it's time to roll flat discs out. So the typical technique is to use these discs to create little cones, as you see Yumi trying to do here, and then put the filling inside. And we attempted this multiple times and had to re-roll. Eventually, we kind of just figured out our own style and own technique. Yumi did it her way, I did it my way, and you'll see the end product look very similar.
So I think I tried to do the cone, and then I realized I think you can just create essentially like a pyramid. So do it as you like. I think I did one like the cone, and it was fine.
Look at her little spaceship right there.
and then you just kind of pinch to seal it up.
We also learned through trial and error that as you roll these up into balls before you flatten them out into discs, it makes it a little bit easier. More uniform.
Yeah, I think the move is roll it into a ball. This is very similar to like pie dough or whatever. Put it in a ball, make it flat with your hand, and then roll it out with the rolling pin.
Can any of you watching identify a character on my t-shirt?
I really hope that Brian shows his gigantic spaceship at the end because he made a really, really giganto one.
It was my first try. Most people tend to take one dough ball, place it on a table, then use their carpal bones or palms to begin their disc. For some reason, I naturally use my fingers to start that process. As you can see, this is a labor of love, just like our pupusas. So, teamwork makes the dream work.
I bet you could probably double this recipe, freeze half of your filling and dough, and do it another time. Or I bet you could make them, don't bake them, and freeze them, and then I bet you could bake them later.
Exactly. Actually, someone was suggesting that to me the other day when they saw me looking at this video. We have yet to try that though, so it's uncertain how the air frying process will change with a frozen filling.
There's the spaceship. There's my cute one. Wait, actually, I don't know if that's mine.
Which do you prefer? One with style and character, or the boring symmetrical ones? You let us know in the comments.
We found out after the fact that this probably only makes like 8 or so, and ours were pretty big. So I would say you could probably even go smaller on the, like the pieces when you're cutting the dough log, and just make smaller samosas if you want more.
Yeah, it's really up to you, but these are a good size, great appetizers, or even snackage.
I'd say for people who like a lot of filling, these are probably a perfect size. See, they're pretty big. Oh, we put too much flour on it there.
And that is the downside to preparing your rolling area with flour. Make sure you spray both the tops and the bottoms of these samosas before you put them in the air fryer, because we're not deep frying these.
Spray it with oil, not like water.
That's a good point. The nice part about doing a single batch is you can fit all 9 of them onto one rack. Look at that golden brown color. Who needs to deep fry these things? Not we.
You're gonna garnish it with a little bit of chopped cilantro.
Bam. Look at that thing.
Taste test. It was far too hot for me to be eating, even though I can handle quite a bit of heat. But it was good.
Now we recommend eating it with little ají verde sauce. We'll link you to that sauce recipe. It is spicy though.